I'll go through, this is a public meeting, so the last 2 days we've been hearing presentations by the 5 teams that had submitted proposals. And we got 5 solid, very good proposals. So it's a difficult decision. I'm glad I'm not on the committee, actually. Let me do this, just for the sake of the meeting. Let me call roll here again. Mayor Ben Mallett.
Here.
City Manager Robin Hayes.
Here.
CFO Patricia Draycott.
Here.
Police Chief Rosenfeld.
Here.
And City Engineer Jared Francis. Okay, so what we've done in the past is the committee members have evaluation forms which are a takeoff from the RFQ that went out to the public. And we'll get those scores if they decide, and those scores would be put on this spreadsheet and auto-calculated, so we would have that results for the committee's use if they decide to, and then they will decide and come up with a ranking, which will be presented to our city commission for final approval, and also a recommendation or a request from the city commission to begin contract negotiations with the #1 ranked firm, and if that's unsuccessful, to go subsequently through the ranking. So with that, I will turn over the meeting to Rick Mellon with ZHA, who is a consultant on this project for the city, and he's going to give his summation of what he saw and what he heard to the committee. So Rick.
Okay, thank you very much, Wayne. First of all, as I said after the last one, now comes the hard part. First, selecting one of the firms, and then all of the work that's going to go on between here and groundbreaking, because as someone did say, that is really where it gets critical. So what I did, and I've passed out for the 3 that were done yesterday, just bullet points of what I took away from the written proposals, and then what I took away from the presentations, and then the 8 questions that you had predetermined that you were going to ask if time was available, and just kind of put some of those notes, primarily just to give you the opportunity, because when you see 5 in a matter of 2 days, they all kind of blend together. So, first of all, what I would say is all 5 of your teams are qualified to do this work. You've got what you ended up getting are different firms with different capabilities and a little bit different focus on what they saw as the challenge here. And I'm not going to go over all of these bullets. Those are there for you just to consider as you deliberate what you want to do. As far as the first one, which is C&D construction, just a couple things from the proposal. Because the proposal, everyone was over 100 pages, and there's a lot of information there. They stress local and low overhead, being the size of the firm that they are. Of the limited design build experience that was evidenced, and of the 2 similar projects, of the 6 similar projects, only 2 of them were design build, and neither one of them was really what I would call a municipal project. They didn't really have any documented experience with working with the architectural team. And I pause there for a second because this will come up on a number of them. And one of the things that I'm always looking for in design build is teams that have worked together, because design build, it's a great delivery system if your team knows how to do it. And first of all, understanding that the contractor is in charge of it and needs to manage the architect and the engineering group moving forward. So there was really no evidence of that. They had a very detailed project approach. They presented a 14-month schedule and a bond rating of up to $20 million. So every one of your companies are qualified financially to do this work. In their presentation, they basically summarized a lot of the work that they put into the proposal, and showed a number of similar images and things that were in there as well. They did bring up issues which were going to be a common denominator here of raising the building and looking at the building heights and those type of things. They also brought up for the chief over there, the CPED ahead of time. And then the following that were the questions, and I think they were your questions. I just wrote what I took away from it. Going on to Ivy's, again, very well structured proposal. Stressed they're local and have been in business 50 years. They did include FinProc on the team, and it basically presented that doing the garage at this point in time would be a benefit. Multiple municipal projects by the team and by the firms. And they had a large subcontractor base. The Ivy staff, this is in the written proposal, does have a lot of design build experience. Of the similar projects that they presented, three of the five were design build, and two of the design build projects were with the architectural firm DEA. It had a very detailed project approach and also had about a 14-month project schedule. And then up to $185 million overall bonding. So again, very, very adequate. During the presentation, we basically started out with the vision for the City Hall needs to make a statement. It's a very critical building to the city. They presented a very defined layout and how they used it, and they went about using that, illustrating the components of that layout on how they would look at orienting things. They developed several options, 3 options on how to orient the parking, and ultimately with the recommendation that the parking be considered as part of this project, if not built at the same time for economy, at least for the relationships on how the site will work. References Terminal 1 as a design build being one of the design build projects with DEA. It's a larger version of the City Hall in terms of how it's used. Emphasized efficient use of space and cohesive design and construction. And this is the team they presented is the same team they executed the terminal and several other projects with. And again, the questions, you can kind of look at those. On Wharton Smith, again, very good, well-structured program. Program verification was one of the key things that they're pointed out in their process. Community and communication was very important. They have local office with all local subs other than Schenkel Schultz. Their team members have multiple municipal projects. Of the 7 they highlighted, 4 of them were design build. One of the 4 design builds projects they had included Wharton Smith and Schenkel Schultz. 2 of the 4 design build projects they identified had team members that were actually proposed on this staff. So when you look at these things this way, there's the firm, there's the people, and sometimes it's not clear who's who. During the presentation, they emphasized local team, cohesive community partner, over 100 plus municipal projects, both in construction and in design, urban planning, and spent a good bit of time going through the siting of the building and options for how does it relate to the bigger community. Wanted to consider things such as local lifestyle, outside events, the culture of the space and the culture and events that go on related to beach world. As I said, they emphasized the need to design, at least design the garage at the same time. And in their actual execution, they did talk about site coordination with neighbors, and so as not to impact them much during construction. Pre-con had a number of issues they identified which were related to dealing with inflation and supply chain, which you had the ability to ask later, but they pretty much answered it. And then they're estimating also starts really early, starting with this conceptual budget, moving forward from there. So did you bring an extra one of those sheets?
You got it?
All right, so this morning we had W&J. Well-structured, they're Rockledge based, established in '65, so long history. Multiple municipal projects with the team members. This is from the written proposal. It highlighted a very large team with the Jacobs. Numerous innovations related to finishes, processes, technologies, revenue opportunities were things that they wanted to put in for innovations in cost savings. All of the projects that they highlighted in the front were just CM at risk and planning design projects. Later, 3 of the 4 projects were the similar projects were design build, none of them with Jacobs themselves. The Ivy staff has a good, the key staff all have very, very good design build experience. And then they talked about their scheduled process, but didn't really present a time frame. And then in their bonding, they're at $45 million. And then during the presentation, they started with the DCP, and used that, went from there, again, went to the same thing that most everyone else said, which is looking at moving the occupied space to the second level, and then doing sustainable green space and materials that work with the environment for both sustainability and cost. Did point out might be some FEMA grants available, and several different ideas on hardening of the facility. And then they actually did a budget benchmark of 3 other municipal local projects, which is very nice, and then projected that onto this scope, and then also suggested that the green space budget could be shared to put more into the building. They did have a schedule of 14 months, and they went over time by a good bit, primarily spending a lot of time on design. And then on HJ High, which is our last this morning. Written proposal, very good, 86 years in business. The principals in the firm are all DBIA accredited, which is the Design Build Institute of America. They've worked in Brevard for many years, and they've worked with Harvard Jolly, their architect, for number of years. They did the Cocoa Beach police station. So one of the questions is, to you guys, how was that experience? Because it's going to be the exact same team. So you should probably have an idea of how they work with you in that situation. Said a lot of similar projects, all municipal, that they identified in the written proposal, as well as their design build experience. Their bonding's up to $100 million, and then They scheduled all the major milestones. I don't remember seeing an end date. And then on the presentation, emphasized the same team, DBI award, multiple city halls, as well as Brevard projects, the readily available materials, and to be able to deal with inflation and supply chain. Also said that those issues are starting to ease, which we're also seeing as well. They would utilize early procurement to lock things in, use their own warehouse if that made sense. Early start, the quality control was very well defined comparatively. And they also did a concept budget of 5.8. They didn't necessarily break it down between the two, but my guess is they probably came up with the same opportunity between the two. And ultimately, you're looking at the same budget anyway. Again, emphasize consideration of the garage, if nothing else, in the design. And I will say, I may have already said it, you really need to design it or have a good idea if you're going to do the garage, how it would be designed, because there are things you could do long-term which would be very beneficial. They used a Dunedin case study, which was showed their process, and they also talked about the neighbor issues with site considerations during construction, so very, very well thought out. And as I said at the beginning, they did emphasize, and I agree with them, critical time is from November 17th on to start it to breaking ground. So there is no wrong answer. The ultimate answer comes down to how you think, based on what you saw, what you've experienced with the firms in the past, how they'll work with you and give you the best opportunity to create the most value for the budget and what you're looking to do. And that certainly answer any questions.
All right. I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay.
Great recap.
Yes,
Thank you very
good
much.
analysis.
All right, so we'll keep the ball rolling here. Do you guys want to give scores and put them up on the screen? Yes?
I did.
Okay, all right. General consensus, do it?
Guys?
All right, so let's start,
You want us to call them out?
yeah, we're gonna, Ms. Karen is gonna put them up on the screen for us. So I'll start with, Jared.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with number one, Jared. What's your score for the approach to project and availability, number one, on this?
25 for Ward and Smith.
Number two?
Okay. 25 for the ability of design team, or I'm sorry, 24 for the ability of design team for Ward and Smith. 25 for successful experience with similar projects. And then 10s for the last two.
Okay, W and J. Let's do Jared roll call.
Okay.
Jared.
W and J, 25, 25, 30, and 10s for the last two.
Ivy.
25, 23, 22, and 10s for the last two.
C and D.
25, 20, 22, 10 and 10.
And HJ.
25, 25, 25, 10 and 10.
Okay, you want to just go down the line, Mayor? First would be your scores for Wharton Smith.
25, 25, 30, 5, 10.
WJ.
25, 25, 30, 10 and 10.
Ivy,
25, 25, 25, 5 and 10.
C and D,
20, 25, 15, 5, 10.
and lastly, HJ.
25, 20, 30, 10, and 5.
Okay, Robin?
Let me check my
Scores
numbers
for
one more
Wharton
time.
Smith.
Sure, for Wharton, I have 21, 20, 26, 8, and 8.
WJ,
23, 24, 28, 9, and 8.
Ivy,
22, 22, 28, 8, and 8.
C and D,
17, 18, 19, 8, and 8.
and lastly, HJ.
20, 21, 25, 9, and 8.
Okay, Patricia, you're up. Wharton Smith.
24, 24, 27, 8, 10.
WJ,
23, 20, 26, 8, 10.
Ivy,
24, 25, 27, 8, 10.
okay, C and D,
23, 19, 25, 8, 8.
and lastly, HJ.
24, 25, 29, 8, 10.
Okay, keeping up? Yep. Okay. Chief, you're up. Wharton Smith.
23, 22, 25, 8, 8.
W&J,
24, 23, 27, 8, 9.
okay. Ivy,
22, 20, 20, 7, 8.
C and D,
20, 20, 20, 7, 7.
and lastly, HJ.
25, 25, 30, 9, 10.
So, one is W&J. Okay.
Carrie, you can
So-
zoom in on it.
Okay, so that's your ranking, according to the RFQ. That doesn't take into account the presentations, so that's open for discussion amongst the committee. As far as, you guys are gonna have to come up with a ranking here.
I mean, mine weighed in the presentation.
Okay.
So did mine.
Second.
Guys?
Mine did as well.
All
Okay.
inclusive.
So if that's,
And then we got a 4-runner.
so you have a sample motion, if somebody wants to make a motion?
I'm used to not being able to make it, so somebody else is gonna have to do it.
I move to recommend approval of the city of Cocoa Beach, by the city of Cocoa Beach, not commission. So, this board,
Yeah.
for the final ranking of the evaluation committee for the design build services for City Hall and the cultural green space. Final ranking is listed as below. First rank, make sure I get them right, so it's okay. So it was W and J. Second rank is H.J. Hyatt. Third rank is Wharton Smith. Fourth rank is Ivy. Fifth rank is C and D. Also move to request approval by this board to include this item as a, I'm trying to readjust this, sorry. Also move to add this item as an item to the agenda to be presented to the Cocoa Beach City Commission at the November 17th meeting. Should the city be unable to negotiate a satisfactory contract with the first rank firm, negotiations will be formally terminated, and the city will then undertake a negotiation with the second rank firm. Should the city be unable to negotiate a satisfactory contract with the top two, the city will continue negotiations in accordance with the ranking list until an agreement is reached.
Okay.
Have a second?
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
second?
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay. We can take public comment if you want.
Sure.
Sure.
Any public comment? No, so you can close the meeting.
All right, meeting adjourned, thank you, everybody.